It's almost February, which means that it's almost Valentine's Day. And for that reason, I want to do a fun challenge, and to keep myself accountable for said challenge, I'm making a video about it. So hello my fellow fantasy book lovers, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kathy, and Tales of Neverwhere is my little spot on the internet where I talk about books that I love. In February, the month of love, I want to read more romantasy and romance books, which is something that I sometimes read a lot of and I sometimes completely don't read a lot of. But recently I've been getting more and more into them again, and I decided to make a list of books that I would love to read during February for this February romance challenge. That's what I'm gonna call it. So I made a list on my phone with books that I would love to read, and I'm just quickly going to go over them with you so you know what I might be reading. And of course, if you have any suggestions or recommendations, feel free to let me know in a comment down below, or let me know which one of these books that I'm gonna mention I should definitely read. So to start, I want to read Ruthless Vows. Divine Rivals was the first book in this duology. I hope it's gonna be a duology. Maybe there's gonna be more books, I don't know yet. In the first book, we follow a boy and a girl who are kind of like competitors at a newspaper that they both write for. They end up going to report on the war for a different newspaper. A lot happens. It's basically a fantasy romance, but different because there is like a heavy set war going on, and it has a lot of like World War I, World War II vibes to it, in my personal opinion. So I'm very curious to see how book 2 continues on that, because there is a little bit of like a cliffhanger at the end of book 1. So yeah, Ruthless Vows is definitely on my list to read. And also a book that I have been wanting to read, that is on my TBR list, that I simply haven't gotten to, is These Twisted Bonds. So the first book in this duology is These Hollow Vows. We follow a girl who goes to the land of the Fae, and there is like a dark court and a light court, and she thinks that she's going to possibly be the wife of the prince of the light court, of the summer court, I think it's called even, and something completely twisted happens. So the end of the book is the biggest spoiler, so I'm not going to tell you, but the second book continues on that story. It is a finished duology. I actually have the special editions down there somewhere, so I just need to read them. So Ruthless Vows and These Twisted Bonds are my must-reads for February, and all of the other books I'll see if I get to them or not. So I really would love to read more from the Hades and Persephone series. I actually own 6 out of the 7 books of it, so the 7th one is releasing in March, I think. I have read only one of the books. And I really loved the Adrian and Isolde books by it. I really loved the first book of the Hades and Persephone series, and then for some reason I haven't read the others yet. So if I only read one more book of this series, I'm gonna be happy, but I might read more, depending on how smooth it goes. Up next, I have The Scarlet Veil on my list. I actually own 2 editions of The Scarlet Veil. One is the Illumicrate one, I believe, or the Fairy Loose, and the second one is the Waterstone Special Edition. They are up there on my shelf with all of my black and red vampire-themed books. I simply haven't come to reading it yet. It is a chunk of a book as well, but I think I will like the story. So it is a vampire-based romance, and The Scarlet Veil has been recommended to me by a bunch of people who know what I like to read, so I'm really looking forward to finally reading it. The Scarlet Veil is described as a dark and thrilling vampire romance set in the world of New York Times bestselling Serpent and Dove series. It is perfect for fans of Sarah J Maas. I personally don't really like Sarah J Maas books, but I do love the Serpent and Dove setting, so I think it will be worth it. After that, we have A Deal with the Elf King. This is a recent purchase of mine. I bought this book secondhand. All of the other books on this list I actually bought new or have special editions of, or multiple editions, etc. But this book I bought secondhand because I actually thought I was buying another book. I thought I was buying Slaying the Vampire Conqueror because the covers are very similar. So this is a fae-based fantasy romance. The princes of the Fae need to find a human bride to become king and to continue on like a pact with the humans I think they have. And that is the basic premises of this book. I think we mainly follow the female character. I actually started reading the first few pages already and those are from her point of view. And I think / suspect this is going to be similar to the Akotar series or even to these Hollow Vows, which doesn't disturb me at the slightest. It would just be a fun and easy read. Up next on my list is the first part of a trilogy. It is called A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. Captured by a king with darkness, forced to find the light within. Arwen Vallondale never expected to be the brave one, offering her life to save her brothers. Now she's been taken prisoner by the most dangerous kingdom on the continent and made to use her rare magical abilities to heal the soldiers of the vicious Onyx King. Arwen knows better than to face the ancient wicked woods that surround the castle on her own, which means working with a fellow prisoner might be her only path to freedom. Unfortunately, he's as infuriating as he is cunning, and seems to take twisted pleasure in playing on Arwen's deepest fears. But here in Onyx Kingdom, trust is a luxury she can't afford. To make it out of enemy territory, she'll have to navigate backstabbing royals, dark magic, and dangerous beasts. But untold power lies inside Arwen, dormant and waiting for a spark. If she can harness it, she just might be able to escape with her life and hopefully her heart. And this is something that was recommended to me by a few friends of mine. It's a book that I physically own a copy of as well, which is with most of these books. And it is something that I might read. This, however, is like one of the lowest priority. And then finally, I also wanted to add The Sterling House, because a lot of people have been like sending me messages that I should really read it. I actually have 2 copies of the book. I have a normal hardcover edition and of course the Fairy Loot edition. So I want to read it, but again, it is lower on my priority list as I don't feel like it is as romance as it is based around like the mystery of the house that they're talking about. I think maybe I could be completely wrong. And of course, it is possible that I encounter different fantasy romances, and of course, you can submit fantasy romance books as well. I might also finish one of the series that I'm reading by Sarah J Maas. I am 4 out of 5 books in On Throne of Glass, I think, and I read 3 books of the Akotar series so far. I do like them, I don't love them. I think they are okay, but they're not like the best books I've ever read. But for this challenge, maybe they would be a good addition to it, depending how fast I read and how many books I read, of course. Feel free to let me know in a comment down below, is this a type of challenge that you would ever do? I personally like challenging myself to read special books or specific books because then I get motivated to read them again. However, I am a very big mood reader and having a little bit of variation in the books that I put on my TBR pile really helps with that. And of course, if you have any other Romantasy based recommendations, feel free to let me know in a comment as well. Give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it, and of course feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I make new videos every week and I would love to have you here for every single one of them. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you very soon with a new video. Bye!